Hi, in this lightning science video, I'm going to be showing you how to identify different minerals using our geologist's toolkit. So there are a few different qualifiers for each mineral that can help us identify them. Obviously, color, this one's purple. Luster, which is how the surface appears when under natural light. So you can see, for example, this one has a glassy luster. Habit, which is whether minerals form by themselves or amongst others in groups. Their hardness, which is measured on the Mohs hardness scale, and hardness is measured by the resistance to scratching against different materials like a nail or a piece of glass or a copper penny perhaps. You can also qualify them by their streak, which is against a streak plate like this. If you press hard enough, you'll leave a streak of a certain color. Effervescence, which is when you expose a mineral to a weak acid, is there any bubbling? And also magnetism, which is pretty self-explanatory. Now I'm going to demonstrate the identification of a mineral. So we'll start with this guy here. This was actually I got from the Cave of the Mounds in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, about 30 minutes west of here. So first we can start off with the most obvious, it's color. It's transparent, colorless, however you want to identify that. Next, it's luster. You can see here, hopefully with the reflection, has a very glassy luster. So it's really reflective and smooth on these sides. Next, and probably the most in-depth thing to measure, is its hardness. So you measure hardness by how well it resists scratching. So if it can be scratched by a fingernail, then it's really low on the hardness scale, maybe a 2. This cannot be scratched by a fingernail. We can use a piece of copper, a penny will work. It cannot be scratched by the penny, so we know it's harder than a 3 or a 4. It can't even be scratched by a nail for a hammer, so we know it's at least a 5 or a 6. Here's a streak plate. If it leaves a streak, it's less than a 7, you would say, and if it scratches a streak plate, we know it's harder than a 7, or maybe around a 7. There's clearly a scratch, so we know this mineral is at least a 7 or harder if it's leaving a scratch against the streak plate. Additionally, we can look at the fracturing, how this fractures. If you see on this end, this is what we call conchoidal fractures. So this is kind of an irregular shape. There's really no regularity. There's not many 90-degree angles on this one. And so with these conclusions, we can give a pretty good guess that this might be a piece of quartz. Quartz is typically around a 7 on the Mohs hardness scale, which explains why it wasn't able to be scratched by any of our tests, and it scratched our streak plate. It explains the conchoidal fracturing, the glassy luster, and also the colorless nature of it. Yeah, thank you for watching my lightning science video, and I hope you enjoyed.